Some of us can handle defeat, some of us can handle gambling, and some of us need to stay far away from the internet at all costs. What's cooking? Welcome back into another edition of Now We Can Talk Like Fans on ESPN Louisville Plus. I'm Justin Sofro, and of course I got your latest for all things cards, cats, bourbon, and bluegrass. Today we have an unfortunate story, unfortunate reporting following the even more unfortunate loss that occurred for Louisville over the weekend to the California Golden Bears and their star quarterback. But first of all, before we even get into any of the talk about what happened with the team and the loss and Miller Moss and what do we do with him, we got to talk about the latest news. And that is one reporting that Jeff Lightsy had over at WAVE3 saying a warrant is out for the arrest of a Texas man for terroristic threatening of Jeff Brohm, his wife, and children, Brian Brohm and Miller Moss. Now, pause, take a moment. This is not the same set of circumstances that happened a few years ago when Louisville tried to court Jeff Brohm to come to Louisville, be the head coach. And my guy, and I say this, my guy, he was actually a fraternity brother of mine. Remember the Pasadena Bowl? Thorville Janin got into some trouble with the St. Matthews police for terroristic threatening back in the day because he made a joke about, and it was a joke. I understand not all people find this kind of humor funny, but it was a joke about Trinity and a canister of maybe some gasoline. Anyway, we move on from that. I'm sorry to bring that up, my guy. But this circumstance seems anything but that. It is not a tongue-in-cheek joke that has been made. It is not anything like that because we have some of the news. We have some of the updates from WAVE3, and they're reporting that the man charged with threatening Brohm and Moss and his family, let's not leave them out, is Brian Mandel of Texas. He faces 6 counts of terroristic threatening, 1 count of attempted extortion. The victims are Jeff Brohm and his family, Brian Brohm and Miller Moss. Crimes happened November 8th and 9th after California. Now, this may be speculative, this may be a little bit presumptuous, but I think we can all read the room about what probably happened here. And let's say, I'm going to use that all to say that this is conjecture from this point out. Those are the facts. The conjecture is probably that this was a little bit of a gambling problem gone wrong. Somebody who probably, being that he's from Texas, I'm going to guess he's probably wasn't a Louisville fan. There's a chance there are Louisville fans everywhere. And maybe he was. At the same time, he could be angry. But I think this guy probably had a gambling problem, had Louisville to win and maybe cover spread, whatever it may be. I don't know. I'm not picking his gambling picks. But I think he picked Louisville, and they ended up ruining something so maybe losing him quite a bit of money. Now, this is all, obviously, that's a lot to garner from this. Regardless of the situation, it doesn't matter what happened to him or what specifically spurned his actions to go and attack a family, a coach, and his player. That being said, I think I speak for most when I say anybody who does this or even has the conscious thought of this can't be mentally sane, or you're just a jackass. It's one of the two, but more than likely you've got a lot more deeper issues you need. So what I would suggest is people like Brian Mandel, people like that who are having these issues that they need to lash out at coaches. And I'll be honest, if you see my Twitter, you probably know I don't handle losing the best of anybody. I can be a little bit volatile myself, but I would never threaten or say anything about a player, a coach, a family member, anything like that. Maybe I'd say he's a bum, but that's probably as far as it would go. That being said, I hope that this gets cleared up. I hope this guy gets the help that he needs. He clearly needs it, whether it be psychological therapy, or whether it be, 1-800-GAMBLER, whatever it is. Whatever it is, I hope he gets his help, and I hope that everybody can move on and do better in their lives and just be better people. That being said, those are the facts that we have as we have it right now. We'll talk about it more if more things come out. But that being said, we can kind of reflect a little bit on the weekend that was. Louisville, unfortunately, dropping the game to California, and unfortunately, we sit here and we look at the season, and I'm looking at the graphic at the bottom, and it was a funny joke. It was a funny joke against Kentucky fans, and now Louisville is going to see themselves plummet and have a very difficult, if not almost impossible time getting back into the college football playoff picture. We've got a difficult stretch here in the last 3 games of the season. Louisville has to take on Clemson this week, followed by SMU, who's on the road, which is going to be a uphill climb for Brohm and company, especially if Miller Moss is going to keep playing like he's playing. And then you now have that final game of the season against Kentucky, the rivalry matchup that after last year I thought would be butterflies and rainbows and sunshine. It would be Jeff Brohm does this thing, the quarterback goes out and carves up that team. But Kentucky, while they've had a pretty rough season, they've kind of showed that they have some signs of life. Yes, beating a Florida team that has, already fired their coach and is moving on or whatever, but 38-7, whatever it was, final score, a beatdown cannot be overlooked. And that's one thing that, I wanted to pull back a little bit on the reins of saying this about Mark Stoops, but Mark Stoops can, and he will get his team up for that rivalry game. Now, there's still Tennessee Tech, and Louisville will probably end up being a game in Tennessee Tech, and of course they have Vanderbilt before they play Louisville. There's a chance that they could win both of those games, but there's also probably a more likely situation where they won one, lost to Vandy, and then they're playing Louisville for that bowl spot. A lot more to play for than Louisville has now that it feels like things are kind of kaput, things are done. Now, talking about the quarterback situation is what I want to touch on a little bit. Unfortunate for Moss to be dealing with the situation that we talked about at the beginning of this video. Hate that for him. Don't want anybody to be threatening him, treating him poorly or whatever. I say that having been negative on him myself on Twitter. Unfortunately, I feel like one of my best tweets is done in a while. You can follow me at Justin Sofer, by the way, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. By the way, let's go ahead and get that on the screen. There it is. Anyway, you can follow me there. But of course, I kind of hate it because one of my more negative takes, just all I said was something along the lines of, I think Miller Moss might be my least favorite Louisville quarterback of all time. And I think it's pretty easy to say that that's evident now. And there was a little bit of joke of obviously because he had ruined the end of the Plummer season with everything that happened when Louisville played USC and coming out there. And then, we popped the nails down. So I feel like there's can be a little bit of love lost. No love is lost when it comes to Miller Moss, especially that he did throw L's down before. And now he's trying to play for us and he is doing a pretty poor job. That being said, with those 3 games remaining in the future of Louisville at stake, I still would say I think I would rather see a Deuce Adams. I would rather see other players get an opportunity to close out this season. Because right now, the issue that Miller Moss has, for me personally, it's not even athletic ability, playmaking ability. It's all mental. It's all inside his mind. And I don't think that can be overcome. I think the issue that Miller Moss has when he steps out on that field, and once, they say guys that time slows down for them and they start to see that adrenaline pump kicks in and time slows down. So flight or fight, they're a bit more of a fight. I think Miller Moss is a little bit more of a flight. But the problem is instead of taking off, he ends up taking a hit. And he ends up losing, getting sacked or fumbling the ball away or whatever have you. I don't think it can be overcome. I think at this point in the season, Jeff Brohm would be better off and this team would be better off maybe handing the reins over to somebody else, unless those players are really that much poorer, that those players are that much farther off from being ready than what Miller Moss is. And if that is, then I have a lot of questions, a lot of frustration with Jeff Brohm and even Brian Brohm, who I love. What are you doing? Why are these quarterbacks not being developed? I need some answers there. So at this point right now, I'm ready to move on. I think thanks Miller Moss. Thanks for the Miami game, I guess. Outside of that, the last few games have been, and we gotta be honest with ourselves, they've been blunderous. The Brohm blunder is real. It's a real thing. It's going to happen. You're going to get a massive win, but some point and sometime after that, a massive L will be coming your way. And that's kind of what we saw. If for anybody trying to, argue against it, defend against the Brohm blunder, it's real. It's evident. We've seen the evidence before us. You have very little evidence to argue against it the opposite way, unless you want to say that the immediate game following that is when it has to happen. But if you look back, 3 games in a row, he was begging to happen. He tried to make it happen almost, but they found ways to squeak it out in the end. Anyway, I think it's time to move on. Let's see what happens. Hopefully that guy goes to prison and we will never have to talk about him again. Let me know your thoughts and opinions in the comment section down below. If you haven't already, smash the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit that bell icon to stay notified for all of our latest videos. And I will talk to you all next time. Cards, Cats, Bourbon, Bluegrass. See ya.